For the first time in 18 years, the rich daughter slept alone in a strange man's house that night. The family's ugly bodyguard found her right in front of her, ripped his nose off. He confessed his identity to her. Amy begged him not to send herself back. Looking at a girl crying so sad, Pete eventually said yes to her. The next day they came to the mall. I ran into a babysitter here. Amy swooped into her arms with joy. It turns out the nanny was kicked out of the house. The kind Annie took her in. Amy kept saying thank you. Annie suddenly thought of her own daughter. She took out the photograph to show it to the public. It's a shame Amy hasn't seen her childhood photos. Mother and daughter face to face but can't recognize each other. Annie sent Amy home. She persuaded Alice to give the child more freedom, but Alice has a ghost in her heart. Instead, he said it was to protect Amy. To avoid being like you, I lost my kids. The people were astonished to hear this and said firmly, I will never give up. We'll get the baby back. Alice's viciousness. Even the husband couldn't watch it anymore. He advised his wife not to be so mean. Said Alice sarcastically, you're not playing nice. Don't you want the money? The husband said, I helped her steal Amy because I love her. Alice was very proud when she heard it. That day Alice asked to go out alone. Mother had intended to refute, but Amy quickly said she'd bring a bodyguard. Father was also on hand to speak for Amy. The good of Alice agrees, but Amy needs to get her hair straightened before she leaves. Watching the hair cut off turn to gold again, Alice was very happy. Hold your daughter and keep saying that I love you. Amy naturally didn't suspect anything, but the husband sighed. Being able to go out alone with Pete, that made Amy very happy. It is Valentine's Day. The two were accompanied by music at night. Flip over and dance in the light. Amy closed her eyes. Pete also slowly leaned in, but the moment of truth, the music stopped. The two came back to life. Peter rushed her home. When she got home, Amy still had an aftertaste, holding the babysitter and talking. The nurse was taken aback by her experience. She was pretty sure Amy was in love. Amy doesn't get it, busy asking if this is a bad thing. The babysitter says being in love isn't a bad thing, but it's going to be hard for your mother to know at this moment. However, my mother was at the door, eavesdropping on the house. I followed Amy the next day, found Pete's place. She didn't recognize Pete as the ugly bodyguard of the family. I made a phone call when I got home. Pay someone to frame Pete, put him in jail. The husband felt that Alice had gone too far. They will be leaving the capital soon. Holding Pete in jail was a double whammy. But the paranoid wife cried out, I'll never let Pete go. I'm not going to let anyone take Amy. Yet all this. But Amy, who was passing by, heard it. She questioned Sister Kim in a sad way. Why they put Pete in jail? Can't you have freedom and love? Alice yelled at her to be obedient. Go back to your room. Amy couldn't hold herself back any longer. The anger immediately rose to the head. Her hair is beginning to grow wild, roll up the things in the house and fall to pieces. At the same time, Anne had just arrived with her present. I was shocked to see what I saw.